one of the blessings of being born in India, in that geography, is that generally speaking, you'll find people around you who either completely open themselves or who direct you towards openness. And I see this in some other cultures. Like I have some Ghanaian friends, I have some Arabic friends, I have some South American friends. I see this in, like, the tropical belt culture a little more. Again, taking nothing away from the West, I'm deeply fascinated.
No, you're completely correct. I don't think everyone always realizes quite how secular and irreligious England is. I mean, our religious beliefs here, our church, it's really broken. Like, it's not part of people's lives
anymore.
They don't have even the basic stories of the Bible. They don't know. You say Adam and Eve to a class of children, and like most of them don't even know the Adam and Eve story, which is like incredible.
I kind of feel bad for some of the people born in the West in Christian families, because they grow up with a sense of not wanting to have conversation about religion because of the negative connotation that it holds. I don't know why. Like, I landed in Manchester, and the immigration officer asked me about my podcast. She's like, "Why are you here?" I said, "To podcast." She said, "What's your podcast about?" I said, "Everything under the sun other than politics." I said that as a joke. And she's like, "Yeah, and I hope also religion." And I'm like, "Why?" It's it can be a beautiful topic. Then I realized that I'm speaking from an Indian perspective, where for me, religion is Sanatan Dharma and Buddhism and Islam and Christianity. And for her, it's like more of a binary. Right? What I sense in Europe is that the world has so much to learn from this region, this geography. But the one thing that many Europeans can learn is to find their faith in the divine once again.
Yes.
I feel it creates some level of anchoring, which you have. We're talking about Goddess Babylon. We're talking about all these topics, which, the Arab world has, which my world has, which like Southeast Asia has, South America, all these places. But people in Europe, especially, even more so than America, have forgotten the divine.
Yeah, very much so.
And it's causing mental health problems.
Yeah.
Right? Have I said something offensive or wrong?
No, you're completely correct. You're completely correct. We live in a world which is so devoid of that understanding. And it's something that you find people who are drawn to magic and witchcraft, they're also freer to explore those things because they haven't been limited by it. They're not coming in also with like a negative framing of these ideas from Christianity. But there's also just that lack of spirituality in the culture. And I think it broke with the world wars. Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think World War I and World War II, the death and slaughter and the cultural change that happened, people just abandoned Christianity and that faith here. Like it just no longer made sense to people.
After seeing that level of death.
Yeah.
Can we speak about the world wars a little bit?
Yeah.
We speak about the world wars a lot in India, but I've noticed that in this part of the world, of course, it's spoken about so much more because it's recent history. Do you think that there were elements of these lower or higher entities involved in the world wars?
I think if we live in a world filled with spirits, which is my model of the universe, then it's inevitable that there is a spiritual component to these things. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've heard some spiritualists say on this show that Adolf Hitler was guided by a lower entity trying to create demonic chaos in this world.
Yeah, I think he was an extremely damaged individual, taking a huge amount of methamphetamines on top of his damaged personality, which wasn't really helping things. And they were again dealing with this problem of a broken Christianity, and he did reach back to some form of a pagan past, a very limited understanding of a Germanic pagan past, but that was certainly an element that was present within the Nazi party.
You know the Nazi symbol?
The swastika, yeah.
the swastika that the Nazis use is an inverted swastika.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one we use in Sanatan Dharma is one of the most divine symbols.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to divinize a space.
Yeah.
But this is an inverted swastika,
Yeah.
very similar to an inverted cross,
Yeah.
which is a symbol of Satan,
Yes. Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
It looks like a sword instead of a cross.
Yeah.
So they've taken a very powerful Hindu symbol and turned it around.
Yeah.
Where, to the degree where I know a lot of people in India who think twice before getting swastika tattoos because they don't want a global audience or global person
to misinterpret.
Exactly. Because this in the modern day, unfortunately, can be confused to be a racist symbol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I agree with you. I think the swastika is a beautiful symbol. Like, I really love the swastika, but it's so difficult in our culture because of the damage that's been done to it. And you see that it was used through the 1940s, like globally, everyone was using this symbol. And then because of the Nazi regime, it was been given such a bad reputation.
Yeah, I mean, in Sanatani Tantra, yantras and symbols, basically for us, yantras are of different kinds, but symbols are one of the key yantras. And a swastika contains a lot of power. I am pretty sure that Adolf Hitler knew this spiritual nuance and twisted it around to malevolently affect the world. To affect the world in a malevolent manner.
Yeah.
And cause that level of death and chaos and suffering in the world.
Yeah.
But it's one of those topics that people are so edgy about, like that it's not discussed.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure that even through this conversation, people are going to pick up clips and take it out of context, and then I'll have to do some firefighting. It's just the nature of the internet.
Yeah.
But it's important to have these conversations because in my eyes, in so many ways, I'm trying to learn so much more from you, but I also represent my own culture.
Yeah.
And one of the most beautiful aspects of my culture has been demonized by a human being who wasn't in his senses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.